Well, North Korea's declining birth rate has left dictator Kim Jong Un in tears, quite literally. While hosting the National Mothers Meeting, Kim Jong Un quietly wept and dabbed his face with a handkerchief. What was his appeal? To get women to pop out more babies. Here's our next report.
The auditorium was full. Seats were lined with North Korean women, most of them mothers. They were here for the National Mothers Meeting. On the panel sat North Korean leader Kim Jong Un. Just slightly into the meeting, a speaker addressed the gathering. From what it appears, he talked of North Korea's plummeting birth rate. This was enough to make the dictator emotional. Tears welled into his eyes. Unable to control them, he looked down and wiped them off with a handkerchief. What did Kim Jong Un want? More little Uns. Soon it set off a chain reaction. More handkerchiefs were out. Women in the audience started sobbing too. That's the hold Kim Jong Un has on his people. Dear mothers, he said, addressing the meeting. He further added that North Korea is being confronted with a host of social tasks and that mothers should join to tackle them. He called for women to have more babies. He said preventing a decline in the birth rate and good childcare are housekeeping duties. After the dictator's emotional plea, should we expect a surge in North Korea's birth rate? How dire is the situation really? The United Nations Population Fund estimates that the country's fertility rate stands at 1.8, and it has steadily declined over the last decade. But Kim Jong Un wants to change that. He wants more children who can carry forward the so-called revolution. He wants them to eliminate non-socialist practices. Few decades back, this was not the case. In the 70s and 80s, North Korea had birth control programs in place. Why, you may ask? In order to slow down a post-war population growth. Then in mid-1990s, there was a deadly famine. Millions died, many starved to death. Currently, the Hamid Kingdom has a population of 25 million, and it has never been able to feed them. So why does it expect its people to have more children? When North Korea shut its border in January 2020, authorities stopped importing grain from China. Also, the fertilizers and machinery needed to grow food on more than one occasion. Kim Jong Un has hinted at the seriousness of the situation. At one point, he openly referred to a food crisis. Despite this, he has prioritized funding his nuclear weapons program. Last year, he tested a record 63 ballistic missiles. The total cost of these tests is estimated to be more than $500 million. This is more than the amount needed to make up for North Korea's annual grain shortfall. The country needs to put its priorities straight, and it's not just food. North Korea lacks resources and technological advancements as well. With the birth rate plummeting, it could also face shortage of labor force. Was it a thought of this grim future that made Kim Jong Un cry? Or was it simply a rehearsed plea to convince North Korean mothers? We'll never know. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.